The terror trail of the blast that took place in the Red Fort area of the Jaish-e-Mohammad module. Let's begin with the man behind it all, the man behind the wheel, the man that executed this plot, the suicide bomber, Dr. Umar from the Al-Falah University. Just yesterday, that video that has been released in which he is trying to radicalize others out there, speaking fluently in English, in a very calm, collected manner. He's the man who conducted that terror plot. He is the one who executed the final stage of that plot, driving that car laden with explosives, the I-20 car, in the Red Fort area after being parked in the parking lot for over 3 hours. Do remember, he was driving around in that I-20 car, in very important areas when it comes to very close to the Prime Minister's residence, not too far from there. Also the Connaught Place area and other areas from early this morning. He did enter Delhi through the Badarpur border. Next up, of course, is Dr. Muzammil, his close aide. As far as Dr. Umar's close aide is concerned, the terror suspect from the Al-Falah University. I do remember that 2,900 kgs of explosives were recovered from him. The man who was arrested from the university, he was lately seen. There's a picture that has just recently emerged that he was taking the keys and the documents of the car, the Brezza car, from the showroom. The vehicle was purchased and registered in Haryana on the 25th of September. So do remember Dr. Muzammil and the role that he really played. He, along with Dr. Shahina, the pictures that have now emerged showing both of them buying that brand new car, the car that was used apparently to transport explosives. Now, do remember Dr. Shaheen is also reported to have been tasked with establishing and leading the women's recruitment wing of the Jaish-e-Mohammad in India. So that is the third terrorist, Dr. Shahina, who is also from the Al-Falah University. Do remember that explosives were found. These are explosives that were stored in her car. This was the first car that was recovered by the police. The fourth suspect is Dr. Adil, the terror suspect arrested in J&K. What was recovered from him? AK-47 and arms that were recovered from the fourth terrorist. So these are the main masterminds and the executors, the plotters behind the terror attack that took place. Do remember, 32 vehicles were meant to be used in a plan that was meant to be executed on the 6th of December to coincide with the demolition of the Babri Masjid. So that was the plan, and of course there was a logistical delay, and which is why it was minimized and limited as far as the extent of damage is concerned. However, it claimed 15 lives, with many others who have been left injured. Now, ED sources say that there were red flags that have been consistent with the classic shell company behavior, which, as you know, are entities created only on paper to move funds or layer transaction. Here is a report of the ED on the terror blast that took place, and the center of it all is the Al-Falah University. Linking it all and piecing it all together is the ED. Listen in and take a look at this report.
It was 5:15 a.m. on Tuesday when ED teams fanned out across Delhi NCR, targeting more than 25 premises connected to the Al-Falah group. The coordinated action is a part of a wider investigation into suspected laundering networks, shell entities, and financial irregularities allegedly linked to the group. The Enforcement Directorate is examining the role of the Al-Falah Trust and the associated entities. Key members handling finance and administration have also come under the scanner. A major focus of the investigation: 9 shell companies allegedly tied to the group, all registered at just one address. ED sources say these red flags are consistent with classic shell company behavior, entities created only on paper to move funds or layer transactions, common phone numbers and emails, no EPFO ESIC filings, overlapping directors, minimal salary payments, no HR records. What has also raised suspicion are prima facie discrepancies in claims made about UGC and NAAC recognition for the group's educational institutions. These claims, sources say, are now being verified with the concerned authorities. If the findings are confirmed, agencies believe they may point to a larger network operating under the garb of educational and charitable organizations. For now, investigators say the financial trail is still being mapped and the probe is very much ongoing. NDTV Bureau Report.
So let's talk about Dr. Umar, the man behind the wheel. We do know that he was seen in the national capital driving around these very crucial parts of Delhi before finally executing that plan, that that blast that took place at 6:52 p.m. on the 10th of November. Now, efforts are being made in order to track the final movements, not just of the day, because we know his movements when he entered through the Badalpur border here in the national capital. But what agencies are now unraveling is in regard to the terror trail. NDTV sources have indicated that he travelled to Pulwama, and that happened just a week before the blast that took place on the 10th of November, handing over 2 mobile phones to his brother. One of those phones was chucked into a pond by his brother that may hold answers as far as investigators are now desperate, and they are trying to find out answers to various questions that are coming up in the probe. The other perhaps was used to record that mysterious 1 minute 41 seconds video that emerges yesterday of Dr. Umar there talking about suicide bombing and the arguments regarding that, the contradictions regarding that, normalizing suicide bombing and talking about how it's in the name of Islam is a martyrdom operation. A sharper investigation lens is now beginning to reveal a chain of events that agencies believe could be crucial to tracking the conspiracies. Besides that, Delhi cops have also detained an MBBS student from Saharanpur who reportedly spoke to the prime accused Umar quite regularly. To know more on this, Akhil, my colleague, joining us in order to get us details. Akhil, take us through the details coming about of these 2 phones, and of course, the 2 phones hold a lot of matter that is very crucial to the investigation. Let's just listen in to what is being said in regard to this by the authorities.
सारी जांचें चल रही हैं जी भाई, फ्रेम तो बनाऊंगा अपना। ईडी से लेके पुलिस तक नीचे करो, तमाम जांचें चल रही हैं और दोषी कितना भी बड़ा हो जी वो बचेगा नहीं, क्योंकि मोदी जी की सरकार में आतंकवाद और आतंकियों के लिए कोई जगह नहीं है। इसलिए कोई भी गुनाहगार जो भी इस आतंकवादी घटना में संलिप्त है वो अगर पाताल में भी छिपा है, जैसा हमारे माननीय गृह मंत्री जी ने कहा है, तो उसको पाताल से भी खोद कर लाया जाएगा।
Right, Akhil, my colleague, joining us. Akhil, take us through the role that the brother has played. I mean, he's the one who was putting up those posters. He was pasting those posters. This is the man who has also thrown a mobile phone, which was handed over to him by the suicide bomber, Umar, his brother, into a pond. Take us through the details that are now emerging at this point in time.
Well, absolutely. If you see what we have seen, that one video has, which what we have seen that
Akhil, go ahead. We can hear you. And of course, right. Dr. Adil Ahmed Rathar is the man who was putting up posters linked to the terror outfit in Srinagar on the 7th of November. This is the trail of events that have taken place. The brother of Dr. Umar is the one who received 2 phones. One of the phones was chucked into a pond. The other phone perhaps was used in making that video, the video that emerges yesterday, over 1 minute 40 seconds. This video in which he's talking about radicalizing other people, talking about how suicide bombing is normal. There are many contradictions, many arguments towards it. But he says it's in the name of Islam, a martyrdom operation at that, talking very, very calmly, very coolly, and perhaps, in his bid to find replacements and his successors before executing the terror plot, that suicide bombing that took place just days after that video was made. So, of course, this also reveals that, the kind of reach this video perhaps had because of the language that he's speaking in. He's speaking in English, he's speaking very fluently, accented at that, being very, very calm, very, very cool. The demeanor is being questioned as well as to the kind of people that they have managed to reach out through this video, because of course it's not just the uneducated, the very young. Akhil back with us to get us more information. Akhil, ever since this video came out, now more investigating details coming out at this particular point in time. That sharper lens that we are seeing is beginning to reveal the chain of events, and this man who had travelled to Pulwama just a week before this blast that took place in the Red Fort area. Was this video made in Pulwama is really being the question that's being asked now by investigators.
Well, absolutely. If you see, the forensic team is examining that part, that whether that video was made in Pulwama or in New Delhi's adjacent areas in Faridabad. So that is yet to be confirmed by the agencies. But one thing is confirmed, that the video was recovered from his phone itself. And on that note, what we are gathering information that the forensic team is looking into that part. And apart from that, if you see on the investigation front, what we have been seeing, that there were two significant arrests which have been made by the NIA in connection with the case. First arrest was made by the NIA of Amir. Amir was a person who was basically providing all the logistical support to this very person, the terrorist Umar. And in which case, what we have seen, that he was granted 10 days of NIA custody, and right now he is being interrogated by the NIA sleuths. And if you see, after that, what we have seen, that another person was arrested from Jammu and Kashmir, and he happens to be Danish, alias Jasir. So Jasir interrogation is also going on, and what we have seen, that yesterday itself the NIA has produced him in a NIA court. After that, 10 days of NIA custody was also granted to him as well. So right now it's very likely that NIA is going to make both of them sit in front of each other and confront both of them regarding that what was their specific role and what role basically Dr. Umar assigned to each of them. So on those lines, the investigation is currently underway.